Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where real estate meets real life skills. Hosted by Andrea Lane and Alissa Bickar, each episode features investors turning their unique edge into long-term rental success.
Recording. Okay.
Hello and welcome to the Built for This show. I am co-hostess Alissa Bickar, the consultant. Me and Andrea bring real conversations, real people out there in the world of real estate. So what does that mean? Bringing you successful people doing real deals in today's environment. We want to know what about them brought them success, and also, what their superpower is. So Andrea, who do we have for them today?
So today we have Luis Guerrero. We've known each other for a while. Luis is a successful wholesaler who works in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. In addition, he's closing on his first home tomorrow, 3-family. So I'm very excited for him. So, Luis, to get us started, my favorite question, why'd you get into real estate?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on today, guys. I really appreciate it. So, my journey started, funny enough, like right as I was leaving corporate. It just, left a kind of like a sour taste in my mouth. The reason why I got started, essentially was because I got suspended wrongfully, from my corporate job at the time. Basically, I came in and there was some, situation with this customer that they got upset at me for pretty much no apparent reason, because I was new to the company. So maybe I was there for a month. They suspended me that following day. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was December 13th, 2019. It was Friday the 13th. And I just remember like driving home that day. And I
You're
just
alone.
had this had this like cloud behind me. And I was just like, I'm not gonna go back to this again. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna start doing my thing. At that time, I didn't know I was gonna start real estate. But the months leading up after that, I ended up finding out more about real estate, in particular wholesale, what I ended up ultimately doing. And that's pretty much what propelled me into my real estate business and entrepreneurship.
Cool. That's a great story. You used real estate to get out of the rat race before you even knew what real estate was. So that's
Yeah.
great. And now that you've been in it for a while, what do you love most about it?
Just like to have your own like control, your own dominion. Like that was ultimately the reason why I left corporate. I just didn't like it because a lot of people say, oh, well, I want freedom. I want, a lot of people say that, but really what it was, and it wasn't that, I'm necessarily a big control freak, but I just didn't like that somebody had the control over my income. And it is at the end of the day, it's how I make a living. It's how, I want to feed my family one day. So why do I want to give that to somebody else's hands, right? So that kind of like triggered something in my head to be like, no, I'm gonna kind of like control my own income, set up my own stuff, because then, if I wake up one day with my breath stinking, my boss is not gonna say, hey, I don't like the way your breath stinks, so you're suspended today. I'm like, I never, felt like that was a mutual, and then you get, taxed on, heavily on all your dollars that you make, and there's not, there's no write-off potential. So then once I started learning all these things, I'm like, why did I even get into corporate in the first place? But, I understand that's, the how the world is structured, but unfortunately, that was my biggest thing. I just didn't want to have somebody to have that control over mainly my income. Yeah.
And this is how entrepreneurs are born, my friends. Andrew and I started the company
Yeah.
Own Your Income specifically because we got down to the root of the fact that, I don't want to be at the whim of someone else's decisions. I want to
Nope.
make sure that I can create wealth, passive income, active income from doing something that I can get my head around and that I can own the process, I can own the business, I can own the assets. So thank you for sharing so far your story about, I wrote down here, wrongful termination is where my determination was born. And I'm like, oh, that just very well might be our title for this episode. But when it comes to getting involved in real estate specifically, what um, coming from your career background, all the skills that you acquired through that pursuit, what do you think today, now that you're in, the real estate industry, what do you think is your unfair advantage that kind of gives you the leading edge or competitive advantage to do what you're doing now?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. So when I first, pretty much when that time period when I left corporate, I would say about like 6, 7 months ago was when I graduated from college. I left with a business degree in sports management and a minor in communications. So I was very heavy with, business management and communications aspect of like, uh, in regards to the business. So that led me to like a lot of like sales jobs that I was, hopping from, sales job to sales job kind of got a nick for sales pretty early. And it was pretty easy for me. Just talking with people, being, interpersonal, building those connections, definitely I would say is my advantage. I always say like if you give me, the phone and there's somebody who wants to sell their property on the other end, and they need to, they're motivated. I always tell people it's done. Just give me 20 minutes on the phone with them. I'll be at their house the next day, and we'll be signing a contract. So, for me, I have the ultimate confidence in, okay, you put a phone in front of me with somebody who's ready to sell, I'm gonna buy their house. And I get on the phone, and I'll kind of talk into about my process a little more, but pretty much you want to build obviously that trust with somebody. Once they learn how to trust you, then you could ultimately get that deal done. So, pretty much just speaking with people, communicating, is definitely my superpower, and I've revolved my whole business around that. So, pretty much just that.
That's awesome. Yeah, people. We said, what did Andrea say? Andrea, you usually say, I, I, I don't like houses, but it's a
Real
people
estate.
business or something. Yeah,
Yeah, I'd hate
Yeah.
houses, but I love real estate because there's so much you can do. And I have a question for you because based on what you're saying is you're really skilled at speaking to people. If someone were to want to speak to you about a property, would you be open to it?
Yeah, like you're saying to sell, like if they want to sell a property.
Or if they just want to talk about you about how to sell a property? Is that something that you talk to other people about? Or it's really your built-in business? That's what you do for a living.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm always open to like collaboration and stuff. Like if some people are trying to do what I do, I'm pretty much an open book with that kind of stuff because for me, I always feel like there's always stuff out there to do deals. I'm not gonna have the limited mindset to be like, oh, well, there's only a certain amount of these, there's deals that happen every single day,
I, I
every single day.
I
Yeah.
I absolutely love that because that's so many people say, well, this is what I do. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to share with you because it's going to break the mold. And so
and
No.
I
the
love the
scarcity
penetration.
mindset. The
Right.
scarcity mindset. And when we're
Be
out here being in the entrepreneurial realm, I mean, because you're talking about building your own business and doing wholesaling and being involved in the purchase and the transition or transaction of selling a home and something like there's enough fish in the sea for everybody. And that
yeah.
scarcity mindset of like, it's all mine, everybody's a competitor. That's what breaks businesses more often than not because they're not willing to build community, to build relationships. And so like it's the Achilles heel. And I love that you're taking this from that people perspective. So tell us a little bit about the your experience in building your own real estate business and tell us what that looks like.
Yeah. No, so yeah, when I started, I pretty much started with a small team of like virtual assistants that would do like cold calling for me. So they would like generate leads. Essentially what I do from there is once I get a lead from my team, I get on the phone with them. My primary source of outreach and marketing is cold call. So, once my team does the cold call, I'm the one who gets on the phone and pretty much close the deal. So from that point on, I pretty much get in communication with the homeowner, talk to them, what's their situation, what's their timeline, what's getting them to ultimately sell the property. I always have this kind of like way of like kind of just adding that in there where like if I'm like on the phone with somebody, I'll just say, hey, I'll say, hey, I'm looking at this on Google right now. And like, this looks like a really nice property. Why would you want to sell it? And I say it just like that. And you would be so shocked that like how many people like drop their defenses because the way I said it, the way my tone was, the speed at which I said it, it's very disarming. And then they say, oh, well, XYZ, I was in a divorce, or oh, I'm losing a house because I'm behind on payments because I lost my job. And then they go into this whole thing, and it's not necessarily what you're saying, it's how you say it and then how you listen afterwards after what you give them, as a pretty much an open-ended question. So essentially I take them through that process. This is all, off market, by the way. These are not listed properties on Zillow, MLS, and you're not going to find these on Redfin and stuff like that. These are just off market opportunities. And there's a statistic in my industry that's like about, they say 10 to 12% of every market is in distress. So if how many people live in New Jersey? How many people live in Eastern Pennsylvania? How many people live in Northern Delaware, right? So 10 to 12% of the entire population is in distress. So,
Wow, you just
yeah.
dropped two huge nuggets, and I hope the people
Mm,
really hear it. One is there's always opportunity. Don't tell me
yeah,
that you can't find anything in a market. It may be
yeah.
hotter in some than others, but there's definitely opportunity. But the other thing you talked about when you said I just ask them, why would you want to sell such a beautiful house? And they answer the question they drop their guard and they answer. That's something that I was taught early in my career. If you're going to ask a question, that would be what you ask. And that is so important to know. I think that's just great. Thank you so much for sharing that with our audience.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem. So just to kind of like wrap up my process, so pretty much as I take them through that line of questioning, some may say, okay, hey, do you want to go see the property? I say, sure. I'll go see the property. There's sometimes where I'm on the phone, I speak with the seller. They say, okay, hey, I'm ready to sign. I email them a contract. They sign it, they email it back to me, and I already have a deal. And then let's say fast forward, I end up selling it to a buyer buys it, and they probably go see it, maybe like it's empty, for example. There's cases where I get on the phone, I get a property, I sell it to a buyer, and I never even see the seller, I never even see the house. So there's instances where you could pretty much do what I do over the phone, right? So like to tell, to kind of, I guess, inform people, I'm not too sure when your listeners how many people are familiar with the wholesale process, but essentially, once I speak with that homeowner and I get that contract signed, it's just like any other purchase contract that you sign when you buy a real estate property. The only difference with my process is during my inspection period, essentially all I'm doing is finding a third party, and I'm assigning the rights to that contract to the third party that is going to purchase the property from me. So they're essentially just taking my place in that contract. Technically, I'm selling them that contract. That purchase contract has the rights to purchase the property. So that's the reason why I could do what I could do legally, and I don't. For New Jersey, I know, Andrea, we spoke about other states. For New Jersey, I do not need a license to do that. And it's simply contract law because you're only dealing with the contract, and I'm only selling the property to the buyers, just the contract. Alissa? Yep.
Yeah.
You're not
So
you're
you're
signing the contract, correct?
Say it again.
You're not selling a contract, you're assigning a contract.
Yeah, yeah, signing the contract, but I'm saying like in terms of what I'm actually like quote unquote selling, I'm not selling the house. I'm selling the
Correct.
contract. But the way to do it is through an assignment, correct? Yes.
so it what I hear is, you found a creative way to give yourself income. This is a very active business for you. This is not a passive income endeavor for you. This is you building a full-time. Correct me if I'm wrong. So is this full-time for you? Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
And,
yes.
that's your income. Now you're in the real estate game. And so do you look for deals for yourself?
Yes, yes. So I'm actually closing on a property, ironically, tomorrow. I have the clear to close, and I this is not going to be the first property I just purchased for myself. I actually have a flip that I just finished, and we're selling it. It's currently on market. I did
Mhm.
that with a couple of partners. But the property I'm closing on tomorrow is actually a three-unit mixed-use property in South Jersey, that I'm planning to live in one of the units and rent out the other two, to pay for the mortgage and utilities pretty much of the property, while I pretty much
Yeah.
live there, rent mortgage free.
House hacking. I mean, listen, that's
Yeah.
the way to go. My parents moved into their first home that they purchased and then immediately finished out the basement, rented it out, and shared the burden of that mortgage. This
Mhm.
strategy has been around for a long time, and I'm happy for you. High five to see that you're moving and shaking not only to build your owning your income, but to build the long range plan for you to acquire the assets that can provide for that over time. So it's been really cool to interview you, hear what you're kind of up to in today's market and today's day and age. What's your projection over what projects or interesting things you'll be up to in the next 6 to 12 months?
6 to 12 months. So I'm looking definitely, for more properties in New Jersey. That's definitely the main area that I'm focused on here.
For yourself,
Um,
like to build your
uh,
portfolio?
Mainly for like to do like what I'm currently doing with the wholesale. But if I do come across opportunities, maybe with not within the next 6 to 12 months, because I still want to stabilize the property that I just purchased. So while I'm in the process of doing that, I'm just going to continue to keep doing what I'm doing with the wholesale. Mainly just like, I'm always looking for deals, regardless of whether I'm buying something, or because I could always wholesale them, right? So it's like when I wholesale them, I'm not taking title myself, right? It's pretty much passing through me, and I collect that fee, right? And it's a misconception that a lot of people think that wholesale is just kind of like a hobby. There's been transactions where, I'll do like a double closing. And at the time, I was working with other partners, so I wasn't getting all the funds for myself, but at the time, we double closed on a deal that netted, $220,000 off of just finding an opportunity, closing it, reselling it the same day to an M buyer for $220,000 more, and not touching a thing in the property. So when people say, "Oh yeah, wholesale is just a fun thing to just get into real estate," no, if you scale it at the right rate, it's a whole model, and you can make it comfortable 6 to 7 figures a year if scaled correctly, in this business. Just have to know the process behind it.
Awesome. Well, Andrea, you have any other uh, inquiring minds want to know questions?
Um, no, I loved all of your tips and tricks for wholesaling. I think that's great. I like the fact that you're finally getting into your first house. Wholesaling is nice, but it really is a business. So for people who are working, it's sometimes difficult to juggle two jobs, right? Whereas if you have rental income, if you build your portfolio correctly, you can actually have income and still work and not have your time building a job, but building a business that will work for you. It's not totally passive, but it makes it a little easier than having a business of wholesaling. So I like it a lot. If you want another business, I think wholesaling may be for you. If you want to find passive income, then Lewis, you're on the right track with buying your first home with two additional people to pay your mortgage.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
right
I
on.
appreciate it.
And so, as we're wrapping up here, we just want to know, if people want to learn more about you and connect with you, where should they go to find you?
Yeah, you could go reach me on if you want to message me on Instagram. My Instagram name is my first name, Luis, Luis, underscore 32, another underscore, then my last name, Guerrero, Guerrero.
We've heard it here, ladies and gents. He built his own business because when he got the bug to determine his own outcome and to own his own income, he took the steps necessary. Andrea and I are passionate about serving people who want to own their income moving forward, and you do that through the pursuit of real estate and building out a more passive income over time. So Liz, thank you so much for sharing your story so that our listeners can understand what's possible, even if you're in the 9 to 5 and you have something to play with and you want to go out and look for properties. Maybe you're looking in South Jersey. Maybe you should connect with Louis. But anyway, we believe that the path to wealth is through rental real estate, and that it's what Andrea's done for decades and it's what she's helped me to do. So we know, Louis, that you're built for this, and we're so happy to be part of your journey here and expose you, to the folks who are wondering if it's possible for them. Like, it absolutely is. Whether you're building your own business or you're in someone else's and want to build your passive income empire, this is the way to do it. You can contact us at builtforthisshow.com if you want to be a guest in the future here. We're always looking for people who are building their real estate legacy right now and want to know what skills they've used to get here. So if that's you, please message us and get on the calendar so we can have a chat and see if this is the right show for you. Louis, thanks a million, and we will see you all next time. Stay tuned. We have another amazing episode queued up for you right after that.
See you guys. Thank you.
No problem. And Andrea, we got to stop record.
Why isn't it? I can't do it.
You are the only one who can. You have to
Okay.
go to the bottom of Zoom.
Yeah,
There
no,
should
I
be
know
a
what you're
little-
telling me to do, but I can't open my screen.
Well, we'll trim all this out anyway. It's no big deal. Liz, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for being here with us. We will let you know when this goes live, when it gets published. Are you already on Andrea's email newsletter list?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. So you'll see it there.
Appreciate it.
We send it out at least once a week. And so when it's ready, we will tag you there and put the thumbnail and the high five and the thumbs up saying, okay, you can share this with us on socials and things like that. Any questions
Appreciate
for
it.
us before we hop?
No. Thank you guys. I appreciate it again. Thank you for the opportunity, and yeah, good luck with your podcast and everything you guys have going on. Appreciate
Great.
it.
Thank you much.
Take
We'll
care.
see you
All right.
soon.
All right.
Bye.
I'll see you guys. See you.
This wraps another episode of Built for This. If you're a real estate investor with a unique edge, apply to join us at builtforthisshow.com/guest.